Hello everybody, Sanjita here, and I've been spending a lot of time thinking about super teams. I'm getting pretty close to unlocking Riva. Our guild should be able to do it probably by tomorrow actually, because we're about to do this mission. But there are several teams in Grand Arena. I'm going to name, I think, 7 of them today that I would consider deadly teams that are not Galactic Legend teams. So what actually is a deadly team and what are the qualifications? So here are the qualifications for this category that I've just made up in my own head, but I think a lot of people would relate to this category of what I'm calling a deadly team. First, it's kind of like what a Galactic Legend actually brings to the table. And the first two things are super high damage potential and amazing survivability. All Galactic Legends have this in some way or another through just themselves or just what they bring to their team. Because obviously Java isn't doing super high damage on his own, but his whole team is. And also great survivability for a lot of them. I mean, some, you might argue, don't have amazing survivability, like Supreme Lord Kylo or Sith Eternal Emperor, but they're kind of making up for it, making up the difference in this other area. And of course, not all Galactic Legends can beat all other Galactic Legends, so to expect a non-Galactic Legend team to fare well against all Galactic Legends is a little bit restrictive. But for a super deadly team, I'm thinking they need to have at least some potential to beat Galactic Legends on offense, or, and I think it could be either or, have the potential to hold against Galactic Legends on defense, or have few reliable counters, few things that you can actually bring up against them. Maybe like one team that's not a Galactic Legend, or one of these deadly teams. And then they might be able to hold against some Galactic Legend teams. So I don't think they have to be able to win on offense, but being super survivable and holding on defense is important to that as well. So I've obviously showed my hand for the first one. It's the Riva team, Inquisitors, without Ninth Sister or Second Sister. They just don't make the cut because you don't need a tank with Riva there. And I don't have access to this team, so I do have limited experience. I haven't no offensive experience with it. But on defense, it holds extremely well. And yes, I've been able to have good luck and most others with Traya against it. But that's also another deadly team, which just a tiny spoiler, the tiniest of spoilers. But this can, Arnold showed us day one that this can roll over almost any Galactic Legend on auto without even a Datacron. And yes, their best Datacron is behind them with set 6 with the Inquisitorius, but they're always going to find a way to make use of something. So in PvP, in Grand Arena specifically, which is what we're talking about, this is an incredible team. And you need Grand Inquisitor. It's not just her. Riva on her own is not going to be dominating all things and all people. But it all comes down to the 5 instant stacks of Purge, plus the 1 from Grand Inquisitor. He gives 1 with his unique somewhere. And then whenever someone's getting a 6th stack of Purge, he's getting a bonus turn. So that's why you're starting right off the bat a free turn with Grand Inquisitor. And all Inquisitors have a kit that is built off Purge. And when you have 6 stacks of Purge, if you're targeting someone right off the bat, which, before Riva, this was hard to get up to. You had to wait a while in the battle, but everyone's starting off with 6 stacks of Purge and pretty much permanently having that is insane. You get all these extra bonuses from it. You can get an AoE ability block if you're on offense, but on defense, he's starting with that Ready to Die torture ability. And then Riva can put healing immunity on everybody. You got Death Mark. It's just an incredible team. You have to have a very specific approach to it in mind. Maul can get her down, but it's really hard. And we saw that Phoenix can beat them in Squad Arena, although I don't know if that would work in Grand Arena with the Omicron from Death Mark. 8th Brother has massive damage on this team. 5th Brother cleansing debuffs and everything. 7th Sister keeping the team alive and giving them extra survivability with crit immunity. They're a match for pretty much any Galactic Legend, so they're just really at the top of the list for a super team. It has high damage potential, super high survivability because 3rd Sister is really thick, and she has one of the best buffs in the game, Hatred. She's going to go down and come right back, and then you have to work through all the way again because she gets it right after she comes back as well. So super survivable, tons of extra damage. Can hold against Galactic Legends. I mean, I wouldn't even trust anyone other than like Jedi Master Kenobi to do it in a clean way, and that's not even clean. It's super scary. So this is the quintessential deadly team in my mind. Next up, since I already talked about it a little bit, is Traya. And Traya is the counter, the the clean counter to Riva, our first deadly team. But otherwise, this is an extremely powerful team on defense once you have the Treya Omicron on it. And it pretty much can handle some Galactic Legends, like I wouldn't trust Jedi Master Luke against it. I think Rey should be fine, but it might be sketchy. And it used to beat Lord Vader right out the gate, and of course that's been nerfed since with the if there are no Dark Side Galactic Legends clause of the Omicron. This Omicron is no joke. It gives so much survivability to the team, which is one of my categories, and then also helps them stack their damage to an insane degree. So you can do crazy hits with even Treya, just one-shot characters, if you let it build up enough. SWGOH is a super tank for the extra survivability, and Sun is in there as well. And Talon is speeding up the team and giving them even more beefiness. And on the damage front, what they do lack in kind of just big hits, you have an insta-kill there. So even though that's not going to work against Galactic Legends, it's working against pretty much everything else. And you really need to take a Galactic Legend on it against it if it's on defense to work. And even if it's not getting holds against Galactic Legends, that's very valuable. Just taking a good look at SWGOH. I don't have the paid version of it, so it's just a free version, which isn't going to give you all the information. But at the top of the list, the only 100% win rates are Galactic Legends. And for a non-Galactic Legends team, that is a great deal. The first non-Galactic Legend we see pop up is a Starkiller team, which is a pretty good team on its own. That's only a 69% chance of winning. And we don't even know what's going on here, if these are under-geared characters or what. Treya herself, that's not a high success rate, probably because it's more of a stall-out team on defense, and maybe whoever gets the first Annihilate off is going to win, or at least be able to hold the best. Even Jedi Master Luke, that's a terrible win rate. So this has great hold potential against Jedi Master Luke. Aphra is a pretty good team, only 36% chance of winning. And then some people are trying Bounty Hunters, CLS, and Imperial Troopers, and having a terrible time. So it is an extremely good defensive team. And increasing cooldowns with Nihilus is nice. I don't even have the Omicron on Talon, but can add a little bit extra there whenever it can cycle through her abilities faster and stack their protection and offense, which can be pretty nice if you're going all in. That can make the counter even better. But she's just giving everyone extra speed. That's actually on this ability too. Extra 30% max health, offense, and speed. And she really charges the team up. When anyone hits Treya, everyone's getting turn meter. And you can get to that insta-kill really quickly with the help of her Omicron. As soon as he falls to 90% health or below, he's going to get that insta-kill. So yeah, Treya, pretty deadly team. The third deadly team we're looking at, and this is more of an offense-only team, is the Starkiller team. And you could put this on defense, but it is more vulnerable to some more off-meta counters like General Grievous. But on offense, there is no other non-Galactic Legend team other than probably Riva that comes to mind that has a more consistent chance at beating a top defensive Galactic Legend, because they can beat Rey pretty easily. And it's more sensitive to user inputs than a lot of counters. Like, there's a lot of ways to mess up, a lot of subtleties, and things you can miss that would make it not work for you. And it's not something you can do a step-by-step tutorial, make a video, and people are going to know exactly what to do every time, because things change up all the time. You want your Mara Jade very fast, and she's going to get out there. Her and Palpatine are really the stars of the show. You can use Starkiller with anyone, but opening up with this, getting tenacity down on everyone to make them vulnerable to all the rest of your debuffs, and then getting shot, and also stunning the target enemy, which a lot of times you want to start with Rey, get rid of the crit immunity on her. Then you're going to do offense down, shock, and stagger for 3 turns. Those are all insane debuffs. And you can get the Terminator train going so well. 1, 2, 3, Mara Jade attacks, and then Palpatine and Starkiller follow. These two are kind of just like, the light side characters are just the odd part of the team. But Old Ben played a big role a couple of rounds back when you could get the extra turn meter, and he could reduce everyone, and even go before Rey. So the fact that they beat Rey is really one of the most valuable things about them. They're also so valuable against the other deadly teams. They might not be able to beat Riva. They do have a chance at beating Treya, and they have a great win record against some of these other deadly teams I'm going to be talking about. And they do have a lot of survivability just through Starkiller's unique. He is giving so much out to the team. 100% max protection while we're in Grand Arena, which is what we're talking about. It's double the extra speed, so plus 70 speed. Also plus 100 health too. So yeah, 100 health, 100% crit damage, immune to daze and stun. That's starting to look more like a Galactic Legend team just there. Because one of the categories of Galactic Legend from their Galactic Legend unique is they're immune to stun. But they aren't even immune to daze. And that's a very common, very potent debuff, which makes this team so powerful. And they're taking half damage from debuffed enemies. So that also plays into the crazy survivability for the team. And this is one of the only non-Galactic Legend teams where you can take a whirlwind to the face from Rey that does over 300,000 damage normally and still be standing. Even Emperor Palpatine, who is not thought of as a durable character, holds on in that situation. So Starkiller, awesome team. That is Deadly Team number 3. Deadly Team number 4, we're looking at General Skywalker, and this was the last meta prior to Galactic Legends, so it makes sense that he would be kind of almost getting to the same level as Galactic Legends, because they are the ones that had to replace him. And he fits the bill. They can get really high damage a couple ways from Rex's Aerial Advantage, which stacks damage through the ceiling, as long as it's not attacking someone that's like Malak or GL. And then also from General Skywalker's leadership, they can stack their damage super high as long as the enemy team is getting a lot of buffs. Yeah, right there. And the potential they have against Galactic Legends, they're not really holding a lot against Galactic Legends, but they can beat Rey in certain instances. Certain Jedi Master Luke, well, I don't know, maybe. Okay, not Jedi Master Luke, but he can beat Lord Vader in some instances if they have that protection up, Datacron. So there's some ways they can go toe-to-toe with Galactic Legends. The main value for them is they don't have a lot of off-meta counters. You probably have to use either Galactic Legend or one of the other deadly teams to beat them. So looking at the stats, Jedi Master Luke is pretty much the hard counter. Also said the Eternal Emperor, as long as you don't bring in a full complement. But other than that, they're falling into Starkiller, which is we've already talked about as a super team. Traya, and then also CLS. Mirrors are pretty decent, but they're not. They can hold a little bit against a Reva team. So I wouldn't really trust General Skywalker to go against Reva. But the fact that he's holding against that team, which is probably the best non-Galactic Legend team, is surprising. And after that, it really falls off. Wampa is probably not a good idea, and Bounty Hunters might be able to stretch to do it. But he still qualifies as a defensive deadly team to me. And then on offense, it's pretty much a solution to any non-Galactic Legend team. I wouldn't trust against Reva or probably Starkiller, and probably not Traya. But pretty much everything else, you can just throw General Skywalker at it and get the job done. We're on number 5, and this might be a little bit controversial, but in other ways, probably shouldn't be so controversial. We got the Zori team here. Finn is the leader in name only. The real leader is Zori Bliss. And her uniques are just crazy. I don't even fully understand them. I just know when you go up against them, if you don't stop them in their tracks right away with stopping turn meter attacks out of turn, like with shock or daze or something, don't kill some valuable people right away, they're going to run circles around you, inflict expose on everybody, and gun you down. If people watch all my GACs, they'll remember the match where I used her as the thumbnail, and I got gunned down with my Lord Vader against a preloaded team. If they get out in front of you, they will destroy you. Even Lord Vader, which I thought would have been a hard counter because of the daze and all the dots and his super tankiness, they just did so much damage to him. And yes, that was when they had the Zori Datacron, but even without it, there are not many counters that work to it. It's got insane damage. If you see some of these numbers, it's just unreal. If you see, and also crazy survivability, it's a lot of recovery. They're getting damage immunity. They're also getting protection up. So you think you're getting through and taking them out, and then they come right back. And her Omicron stacks so well with Finn's leadership. First of all, Finn gives a great stat boost. 60% defense, offense, and potency is amazing, especially for this team. Tons of turn meter. So I guess what I didn't talk about as a qualification for a deadly team, I guess speed or turn meter initiative could be a category. Because Galactic Legends have extremely high base speed to them. They're all over 300 at like level 0 gear, level 1 gear 0. But this team kind of feels like it's over 400 speed a lot of times. And also, I put Rose in here because that's probably the best possible iteration. I don't have her Omicron, but it does add a lot. While in Grand Arenas, you're getting 10% offense for each exposed enemy, so up to 50%, 5% turn meter whenever and a resist ally scores a critical hit, which is going to be quite often. So that just makes the team even harder to deal with, and it even has potential to beat Java. And I think prior to this, these old records, I mean, it's in the red. It's just over 50%, but that's still pretty good. It has potential to beat Galactic Legends. It is from last season, so it's probably because of her Datacron helping out a lot. But beating Java's the hardest Galactic Legend to beat. There are so few things that beat him. So the fact that Zori can beat him really puts her in this category for me. And then also she can just steamroll a General Skywork team, which is awesome. There's some other teams that she's not as great against on offense, but she's a defensive powerhouse and definitely has potential to beat Galactic Legends on offense. Deadly team for sure in my book. We're almost through the end of it. Deadly team number 6 is a Malgus Sith Empire team, and this team is just insane. Other than Riva, this is probably the most quintessential Galactic Legend-like team out there. And a lot of it has to do... Malgus has so many Galactic Legends traits. He's taking reduced damage from % health effects. He goes a step above Galactic Legends in some way in being immune to healing immunity. He can't be stunned. I think he's immune to fear. Yeah, he is immune to fear. It's just hard to find because it's in his leadership, but is only applying to him, which is kind of weird. Usually the leadership is about everyone, and uniques are about him alone. But yeah, those are Galactic Legends traits, and he has super tanky health and protection stats, great defense, armor, and such. He's getting extra armor, extra mastery. Manipulating Mastery is actually pretty much almost exclusively a Galactic Legend trait too. So this is such a Galactic Legend-like team. 80% crit avoidance, you don't even get on Galactic Legend teams. So much extra bonus from this Omicron. At the start of the battle, he is coming back. Even if he's the last one alive with a sliver of health, he's coming back with full health and protection at the end of the turn. If you don't have the right thing, even if he's alone, you're not getting through him. You really need an insta-kill. You can't even Zerg him down with healing immunity because he's immune. And then the whole team has so much to offer. I mean, the kits are so big and hard to talk about all of it. But Fear is such a potent mechanic, and Darth Revan getting AoE Fear with Insanity. Darth Revan, I am still afraid of him. Even if he doesn't have Malgus to lead him, he is such a strong character. So the team as a whole just has great survivability under Malgus, not as much under Revan, although Malik was holding down the fort a lot. So Fear comes out like candy on this team. With Doubt expiring, Revan can give it out, Bastila can deal it out. Sith Marauder is very tanky on this team and does really good damage. And then Malgus, of course, has big damage potential with 100% health damage. And this team has so much potential against Galactic Legends. People almost exclusively use it on defense. Some oddballs use it on offense. Won't name names, but I know a few. And I know that this holds against Galactic Legends because this held against me using Jedi Master Luke so many times. And just last Grand Arena, it almost got a hold, in 3v3 even, almost got a hold against me using Lord Vader. Had like 30 seconds left, almost timed out. So this is just so strong, so fast. It does so much damage. I mean, I also didn't even talk about Malgus' little hop here, which can go sky high when he's manipulating his own health, increasing that. Datacrons can help boost his health some of the time too. He's got a ship, that's not important. But yeah, this team really fits the bill. This is a deadly team in my opinion. It's something, there is pretty much no non-Galactic Legend counter to start off. That's ironclad. Even Trey and Reaver can have trouble. And we go to the counters on SWGOH. It's Galactic Legends almost as far as the eye can see. We have to go really far down till we get to non-Galactic Legends. And the first one which shows up is General Skywalker, 73%, not too bad. Starkiller, 64%, starts getting really sketchy. And then Afra's 39%. Traya, 6.4%. So Malgus, yeah, you're not seeing him as much on offense. He's on defense a ton, but holds against the best of them, and Reba doesn't even show up here. When I see a Malgus, I'm pretty much saying, okay, I'm using Sith Eternal Emperor, and that's that. I just don't want to try to mess with it. It's going to be a really tough time, or a multiple shot at attempt to get past this team. And the last team of the night that I'm calling a deadly team, this is probably going to be controversial. I can see a lot of people disagreeing with it. Let's just call it an editor's choice. It is a Seer Junda team with a full complement of Cal Kestis, Ahsoka Fulcrum, Kylo Ren Unmasked, and Maul is the key factor that makes me put this up with all the other teams as a deadly team. It has crazy survivability from Seer's leadership, which I don't even fully understand. Once you add her Omicron into the mix, it is just crazy hard to deal with. Yeah, that's hard for me to read it all. But it can get kind of hard countered by having Galactic Legends, because it does have that built into the clause. So I'm here, if there are no Galactic Legend allies, that's counting allies out. They're immune to daze, they get so much survivability, and the extra damage comes from not only Ahsoka Fulcrum, but Maul. Like, when Maul gets out to his 5 stacks of anguish, he can target someone down really hard. And there's actually not a lot of good data on this team, because people don't like to part with their Maul or give him to this team. But I really think it works wonders if you do. On defense, you might be able to get by with General Skywalker. Otherwise, you're probably going to need to throw a Galactic Legend at it. On offense, I don't know the potential, because it's not many people have a Seer finished off to relics to be usable. Ahsoka Fulcrum, more so, people have it. But it's going to be a while before this is kind of a mainstream team. And Cal, he just does so much with debilitating the other team, slowing them down, giving all those debuffs, keeping his team healed up. So there's survivability is insane. And if you watch my last Grand Arena match, which was a 3v3 with Godzilla on the thumbnail, my Starkiller match against just a Seer, Cal, and Ahsoka Fulcrum team was just ridiculous. I did not think anyone could hit that hard. And yes, they had an Ahsoka Fulcrum Datacron level 9, but that doesn't affect her offense. And she hit for like 300k with a quintuple hit. And she was recovering so quickly, going from almost 0 health all the way back to full health. So I'm really excited to see the potential of this full team if more people were to embrace it. I kind of hope no one is setting this on defense, because I'd be scared of it. And most people want to put their Maul with Lord Vader. But Kylo Ren Unmasked in 3v3, I know I've tried gas and got destroyed against Seer, Kylo Ren, and Maul. Because Maul ripped through the team, and there was just no way to get through Kylo Ren Unmasked. He's a durable tank on his own already, and then add all of Seer's benefits to him. Really hard to get through him without an insta-kill or massive damage coming from one of these deadly teams or a Galactic Legend team, so keep an eye out for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. That's it. Love to hear your opinion on this concept of a deadly team. I think it's something that most people think about, but we haven't really put a name to it, so maybe it'll stick. Super team is something I hear a lot. But there's no generally accepted term. So let me know what yours think some teams are that I omitted were. I mean, there's some that are kind of borderline. Let me think if you think I was too generous in putting Zori and or Seer or something in this list, if they don't belong. But I'd love to hear from you on that. So don't forget to like and sub if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.